Hi, I'm James Amon, fellow at the Vadine Center for Rural Economic Development at the University of Minnesota Crookston. Wow, what a winter. 5 months in and we still haven't experienced significant snowmelt. As such, as we enter April, I wanted to talk about what the potential impacts are on farming. In our region, our main crops naturally are corn, wheat, soybeans, and sugar beets. If the snow doesn't melt soon and in an orderly fashion, we suspect that it'll impact crop production, planting schedules, soil health, as well as farm operations. In fact, specific impacts that we're going to discuss include delayed planting, soil moisture issues, soil erosion, flooding in certain parts of the region, pest and disease pressures, livestock concerns, as well as major economic implications. We have a few years in the past decade or two that we can point to where we can understand what exactly happened. In fact, the springs of 2019, 2011, and 2008 are great examples of shortened growing seasons that yielded lower crops. As a result, in those periods, we saw increased soil moisture. Initially, it could be seen as beneficial, but the reality is if it's excessive, it's actually kind of problematic. Waterlogging can prevent growth from occurring, oxygen deficiency because of the clogs, increased susceptibility to disease, indirect impacts such as nutrient imbalances, leaching, and soil complications based on compaction are also likely, just given what we observed in those years. Also, I wanted to talk through maybe some of the other implications that we could anticipate in our region. Soil erosion from rapid runoff, especially if this carries into April pretty long and then all of a sudden we experience warm temps without refreezing at night. That could accelerate depletion of topsoil, as well as overall soil fertility. Flooding can naturally damage crop planting or damage crops, delays. The further you get into the season, we already have a short growing season here in the upper Midwest, the more we can anticipate economic losses. As I mentioned in those previous three examples over the last couple of decades, we saw pest and disease pressures just due to the population dynamics of migration patterns, as well as other factors for insects. Livestock concerns, delayed pasture availability. I mean, everything's still covered, so that increases muddy conditions, injury, disease for the livestock, as well as access to certain feed for those stocks. And then the economic implications. The upper Midwest is super dependent naturally on agriculture. So the crop yields, they're reduced, farmer incomes, that not only impacts farmers, but also the entire agricultural sector, as well as the communities that depend on them. We may see higher food prices depending on the longevity, as well as the impact associated with this particular lengthened snowmelt, as well as additional resource investments that may not have been required in the past. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Hopefully we have some warm weather with some refreezing at night so that this mitigates the impact on our farming communities. Thank you for joining me.